Hello and welcome to Pompo Rides. It's a while since I've done a video and I've got a couple of things to talk about. So why don't you join me and I'm going to split it up into little bits. So here goes. So, first things first, I did a little piece to camera last weekend. I got invited out for a trip up to the lakes with my mate Zach and his boys. So it was Phil and Keith, who was on the D-Day 80th. If anybody's watched my channel, we'll see them on that. And they set off a bit earlier than me, so I tailed it up the motorway to catch up with them. Met up at Devil's Bridge and had a day around there. And one of the things that I was talking about on that was I was off to meet up with them, and I have been thinking of getting rid of the trusty old Vstrom, she might hear me, and replacing it with the buzz bike of the moment, which is the Voge 900 DSX, the Black Knight. So I've been thinking about that and looking around, and they've got really good reviews, and yes, it's a Chinese bike and I'm a bit hesitant, so I had some little concerns over that. But as it happens, Keith has just got one. So I did a little bit talking about all of that, and then when we met up, I got a bit of footage of me talking to Keith about his Voge, and when I got back to try and have a look at doing the video, the first bit of me riding up and talking about it all was all corrupted, so it wouldn't have made much sense doing a video of just that bit. So what I'm going to do now is tail off into last week's ride and show you that little bit of footage of me talking to Keith about his Voge, and getting a view of the Voge 900 DX from an accompanying view, so we get to see the bike and stuff like that. So we'll do that bit now, so sit back and enjoy, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what I'm off to do today. So yeah, after all that hassle with my camera and it's saying the SD card's not working, I'm actually recording now.
Good stuff.
Which means I can interview Keith about his Voge.
Right.
So Keith, we've already had a chat about that, but as I was on my way down to meet you lot, I said, oh, I'm thinking of getting one of these, and Keith's on one. So Keith, how long have you had it now?
How long have I had it? I've had it since November, back end of November. But because of weather conditions and everything, I've only done 700 mile on it.
700 mile, and what's your 700 mile impressions on it then?
I love it. I love it. The more I ride it, the more it frees up and the better it is.
And you've done a bit of jiggery pokery to it we were looking at earlier, haven't you?
Yeah, I've put a rear lugger on it, a fender extender on back, I've got a fender extender for front, and I've had the pipes, well, all the full exhaust, ceramic coated.
And your luggage racks powder coated as well?
Oh yeah, luggage racks powder coated, and yeah, bits and bats.
Because you weren't happy that it's called a Black Knight and half of it was silver?
That's correct. Yeah, it was a bit, it's a lot better now anyway, it looks a lot better.
Let's watch yourselves here, boys. Bit narrow.
So you came from a Tiger, and what would you say there's a massive difference between the two?
It's a different ride altogether, because obviously Tiger is a triple. So Tiger's a bit smooth, a lot smoother, a lot more forgiving is Tiger. You know, on bends, like six gear, you can go down to 20 mile an hour and accelerate away with Tiger. With this, you've got to ride to rev range.
Well, that'll be similar to me on Vstrom any road.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I said, I am slowly getting used to it. I've absolutely no complaints about it whatsoever.
No, we were on about price at first service. So what did you say? It was about 150 quid that you had for first service.
Yeah, it was just under 150 quid.
And they quoted you what were it, about 2.5 they reckon for.
Well, no, 210, 220.
For
6,000. Yeah, 6,000 mile service. They're saying it's a 6,000 mile service, 6,000 between services. But I'll be doing oil and that at 3,000 anyway.
Yeah. And I've just noticed, and Keith were aware of it, that braking on the Voge, the back light flashes, which is quite a neat feature, I think. We might see that in a minute or two.
We can get out of this junction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, gents.
And we've just had a lovely ride up Honeston. Stopped for a bacon, sausage and egg. But somebody didn't have bacon.
Yes, they didn't. Go on.
And also, there was a little bit of confusion this morning when I met up with everybody over the comms, because I think it's Phil and Zach they've updated their firmware, so they've got Senna version 3 mesh, and Keith hadn't, and I don't think mine has, so they've had to drop down to 2.
Right, boys, we're clear.
Get out of here.
We all out?
Aye.
Well done. Yeah, Senna 3 mesh is supposed to be better on audio, it says, within the app. But we'll all have to settle them and make sure we're on it next time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and check now whether my 50C will actually do it. It might not do it.
Who's in front of you, Darren?
Miles.
Oh, right, okay.
So, just for anybody who's watching, Keith's on the Voge, which is the second bike from the front. And if I can get in a position, and we'll see whether his brake light does what I want it to. There we go, I can see now.
I'll put brakes on there.
Alright, just put your brakes on. Alright, now that stayed solid then.
Eh?
That stayed solid then.
I
think it comes on when somebody's pretty close at the back with the radar.
Well, don't flash up. So, Phil, just get close to Keith and you'll see what it does on the back of that radar. Not doing out yet. There we go.
Yeah, that's no.
Yeah. Now he's that close, touch your brake, see if it does that flashing.
That's me brake.
Yeah, stayed solid. Oh well. Must not be a feature then.
Let's see what happens when I get a bit closer. Try it now, Keith.
No, still solid. Although he's lighting up like a Christmas tree because of radar.
Yeah.
Right, we're going straight across here, gents.
Raining again.
Yeah.
Just so I can get alongside of you on your lovely Voge. There we go. The Black Knight.
The Black Knight.
Not a bad looking vehicle. I do like
beautiful.
That exhaust better in that matte black.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
I'll drop back now.
recording.
Just take camera back on for 5 minutes. Get a bit of views.
Yeah, we're turning around at the bottom here. Right, Keith, Glen
Yep.
Ready, Patterdale, Windermere. Right,
Come on.
we're all clear.
Yeah, still clear.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm out.
false neutral. I haven't been this way before, Keith.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
Yeah, you have, mate.
Don't ring any bells. Don't recognise it.
Might have come other way.
All right.
You might have come over at Kirkstone.
I put camera back on to try and capture that fucking brake light.
Do you know what it is? It just doesn't fucking bother me at all. Because it's at the back of me and I can't see it. In fact, I'd never have known until you said something.
No, like I say, I just think it's a good feature.
Oh, it is.
Can't knock a bit of safety, can you?
I don't know, polite vest.
We'll be coming up to some like shops and that in a bit, Zach.
Okay.
On right hand side. Big car park and that, so if Phil needs a shit, that's the place, I think. not in car park.
That's good, sir. Oh, dear.
I'm happy, I'll just seen it fucking flash.
Have you got it on camera, though?
I'd like to think so. As well as discussing Phil's poo.
Right, we must nearly be here because I've got a. Here we are, Glen Ready.
That's it.
Our lass's favourite mountain elbow, she got it tattooed on her arm.
Really?
And we just captured Keith's bike lighting up like a Christmas tree because Phil was too close.
Here we go.
Are you going on to the car park here? I think there are some toilets here.
Yeah.
Well, turn right here.
Yep.
Where are we going? In here?
Yeah, anywhere, mate.
On out the way. 50p for the toilet, Phil.
Better make it a good one. It's
Just pull in here.
It's costing you 10 bob. Are we all fitting there or not?
I'll take 2 spaces, right?
Yep. Hey, stick camera on for 5 minutes.
Some good shots up here.
What I'm thinking.
Good that they've fresh tarmac on the road. Awesome.
It was closed for months, weren't it?
Yeah.
I am tempted to get past these two, but
How much quicker is that to be?
It's chances of getting all 5 of us anyways. It is what it is.
it's lovely. Right, this guy's braking. What's he braking for?
It'll be like this over at Trough. Down the shooter.
Yeah, true. So what pass is this?
This is Kirkstone.
Is it, yeah?
Yeah.
Very nice.
It drops into Windermere.
It does drop into Windermere.
Yeah.
Who said that, Phil?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Hellfire. He knows where he is.
I
Told
do.
you, who told you?
I've done it before. We actually drove past the entrance of that mini roundabout.
In the clouds we go.
Yeah, we did.
Trying to see if my spots were on. My spot's on, Phil.
Yeah.
Hey, I felt it drop temperature there, you know.
Yeah, we've dropped 2 degrees.
Feel it.
The pub down here on left, isn't there?
Yeah, Kirkstone pub.
You don't need another poo.
This is it here.
Like it's been done up.
Yeah.
I think you'd have veered off right to go down to Windermere, wouldn't you?
No, that's Ambleside.
Is it?
Yeah. Right down to Ambleside, straight onto Windermere.
Sheep on the left. Cars.
Ooh.
One on the right. Having a kip.
Coming down here at 30 makes me want to have a kip.
Still a bit slippy. Keep pushing. Bit of a drop down there, isn't there?
Yep.
Okay, so today I had Callie in for her MOT yesterday, and I got an advisory on the tyres, but I knew I needed new tyres anyway because the back one's squared off, and I've just been delaying the inevitable of like, well, I'll get the last few miles out of it and get winter out of them before I start the season. Because I do plan on having a trip abroad in the next few weeks or so. More of that to come. So with everybody else, you know, I work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I'm supposed to work 9 to 5. It doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes a lot more. So weekends are the only really time that I can dedicate to like, alright, I need to get something done. And because I've left it last minute, I've been looking around to try and get somewhere that I can get some tyres that are in stock and ride in, ride out. I've run around various places, so there's Shorrocks at Preston that I rang. Now, there's 2 conversations to be had here. One of, you know, the age-old question of what tyres do you get, and everybody's got an opinion and everybody's got a preference. And originally, I wanted to go with the Anakee Adventure. Now, I've had the Anakee 3s on my previous Vstrom, and I really liked them. And because they're an 80/20, I like the fact that if I do any unpaved roads when I'm out and about, I just have a little bit more confidence in them. And Shorrocks were telling me they haven't got any in stock and they can't get them. But they did have the Road Pilot 6 in stock, and they were offering them at 360 quid fitted, ride in, ride out, with a 30 quid cashback, which was, you know, reasonable enough. So then I've been ringing around other local places and getting various quotes and looking at the option of, like, you know, buying some online and taking them in and everything else. And I just by chance, I put a message on a Facebook group that I'm a member of, Accrington Riders, and said, anybody know anybody locally? And there were a few come back, and one that came back was SDM Tyres in Leigh. So I thought I'll give them a ring and see what they say. And I was debating between the Conti Trail Attack 3 and the Anakee Adventure, and they came back with a price of £330 with £30 cash back, riding and fitted. So I'm currently on my way to SMD Tyres at Wigan, Leigh, right, and I've never been there before, to get my new tyres fitted and get the Anakee Adventure, which is what I wanted in the first place. And like I say, everybody's got a thing to be had about them, and yeah, everybody's got a thing about tyres. So the 330 fitted, but because the Michelin have got that offer on at the minute, 30 quid cashback offer as well, which if it works out, and I know what them cashback things are like sometimes, it'll end up costing me 300 quid for a set of Anakee Adventure, which will be all good. So that's where we're off now. But it does open up the debate of, right, tyres, what do you do, what do you go for? Obviously this is classed as an adventure bike, although we all know deep down at heart, green laning is you wouldn't go green laning on one of these. They're too heavy. growing prudence is too low, but I have found myself on many an unpaved road, especially when I was in the likes of Poland and that lot, and the Zumo, when you put it on Find Me an Adventurous route, will give you some really challenging roads, shall we say. Not exactly green lanes, but yeah, unpaved roads. There was one that we actually came across in Normandy, and I started going down it, and the other lads were like, I'm not taking my bike down there. So they didn't, and I carried on, and we met up somewhere else after. So I do like having the confidence to do a bit of that. And I do recall that they weren't the greatest in mud, right? So, you know, light gravel and stuff like that, they weren't too bad with. But mud, yeah, they were a bit wrong lane. Yeah, they weren't the greatest. But I don't plan on going on many muddy trails. And that's something you just have to deal with, I guess. So, right, because it's I'm just going to get the tyres on, I've ended up on crappy motorways, although not on the way back. So just a little note here as well on the Senna 50C. So anybody who's watched my channel knows that I actually rate this thing, which is what I'm doing the audio and the video, because it's ease of use. And again, I've talked at length. I've got all the other, I've got the, you know, the Insta3 X3, I've got the Insta Ace Pro, I've got the GoPro Mini, I've got the Hero 5 Mini. I'll be perfectly honest, it's probably the worst image out of all of them. However, for just the ease of use of getting on your bike, pressing a couple of buttons, and then getting it out and whipping the card out to do. So I use this as my go-to, right? And then I'll put the other ones on. So when I was out last week, so I didn't know obviously that the first bit I'd done to camera, like I'm talking now, and it could do the same thing. The file corrupted, so I'd lost that, and that's the first time I've really suffered. But then it was also throughout the day kept telling me like, oh, SD card not detected, SD not detected, and I had to do a bit of jiggery pokery of whipping it out and giving it the old-fashioned. Anybody who had a Nintendo back in the day, yeah, or a Mega Drive, you take it out, you give it a blow, and put it back in, right? It's akin to turning it off and on again. So I tried that. It finally got working and got some footage. So then I've come along this morning, I'm coming out more away, I thought, oh, I'll do a bit to do a video, and started giving me a message, no SD card, no SD card. I'm thinking, oh, it's doing it again. And then I realised, shit, no, that's actually my own fault, because when I was trying the footage, I didn't put the SD card back in and I didn't check before I set off. So I've literally just pulled over into the services then, and luckily enough I have a spare SD card, so I've just thrown that in. So, and also whilst we're on with this, when I was out with the boys last week, they've done a firmware update on their Sennas, and they've now got Mesh 3. Now Phil and Zach have done the upgrade, and when I met up with them, they were saying, oh, we haven't got comms today, Keith's isn't working. And when I had a quick look, I'm like, right, so Keith hasn't upgraded, yours is defaulted to Mesh 3, and Keith's still on Mesh 2. So they had to then knock off Mesh 3 and go to Mesh 2. Now I only have Mesh 2, and when I got back I checked, there is no firmware upgrade for the Senna 50C. They've just released the 60, but the 60 doesn't have a camera. So the 50C is still the most up-to-date version with camera fitted. And I would jump at Senna introducing a new one, right? So if they do a 66, which has all the latest technology in, and a new camera with... The problem with this one is you go on 4K and there is no image stabilization. You can only use image stabilization, and I always try and record in 4K. The image stabilization on this were a bit weird as well when I very first got it and I tried it, because the 50C's a few year old now. It had this weird thing of like you turn your head and the image stabilization really weird. It sort of like jerked it back into place. It were a bit. So I generally record on this one without image stabilization, and it tends to work okay. It's not that bad. always Ermine, must be near Ermston. So apparently I'm 14 minutes from this SMD, and they were lovely on the phone. Lovely lady answered the phone. I gave her the sizes, right? Yeah. She gave me the prices straight away, and then said, "Do I need to book it in or out?" "No, just come in. We might be a bit busy. We've been a Saturday, but we'll get you done." So we'll see, and I'll give you me feedback on what they're like. I think the chain needs tightening as well, so we'll see if we can get that sorted at the same time while we're there. I've turned traction control off because it's a balmy. It's saying 18 degrees, but I think that's picking up engine heat as well, right? But it's a lovely day today for a ride out. Just a shame that I'm not actually having a ride out. That's my excuse, I'm sticking to it. When I were last ass. Oh, you could do with jet washing, back garden and all that bit after. It's a lovely day, don't waste it. No, I'm just going to get my tyres sorted, love, and I'll have a do with it. So I've come to get my tyres sorted, as promised. So I thought, right, traction control off. The other benefit of having to come all this way to get some tyres is if I find a non-motorway route back home, I should be able to scrub them in nicely. So yeah, Callie went for MOT. Oh, and I think I got an advisory on back brake pads, and he said, like, they're nowhere near ready for going, but I will probably do them as part of my service that I'm going to give her before I go away. I'm planning on getting away for 2 weeks this year into Europe, so I'll be boring you all stupid with more videos to come, and I have a bit of a theme planned. Don't know where I'm going exactly, but I am thinking of, I looked at various options. One of the things I wanted to ride down and get into Morocco, and looked at the ferry down to Santander, 20 odd hour crossing. I always get mixed up whether it's Plymouth or Portsmouth, which is the shorter one, but they want 550 quid, and even when I was looking towards the end of last year, I think it's gone up about 50 quid since I was looking. Return, so 550 return and 100 quid each way for a cabin. You don't have to have the cabin, you can book a seat for like 11 quid or something, so you can save yourself 180 quid there and make it just short of 600 rather than 750. But I still think that's a lot of money for the ferry, when I can probably get the ferry from Newhaven to Dieppe, which we did when we did the Normandy trip, and it's a 4 hour crossing. Now the thing I liked about that was it was much easier there than it was at going from Dover. It's probably about the same sort of ride down, if not a little bit less, but pretty much the same. So whether you go down that, and if you're going south, it's a no-brainer because obviously Dieppe's a lot further south, so you save some time there. But more importantly for me, because it's a 6 hour ride more or less to get down to Newhaven, when you get there, you've got a 4 hour rest period on the ferry, so you can have a kip, a break, get something to eat, you know, actually get changed out your back gear if you're all wet through or whatever, actually have a proper break, which means when you hit Dieppe, you're fresh to ride for a few more hours to get to your first stop, and the same coming back. So I think I will be going, and price wise, it's 75 quid return, Newhaven Dieppe, and that's in beginning of May. So wherever I end up going, I will probably be doing Newhaven Dieppe, and then trying to decide whether I'm going to head south and head into Spain, which I've never done on the bike, or head east and try and pick up a few of them countries that I didn't do last time. According to this, we're 8 minutes away. That's another thing I've done as well. The Zumo and the Senna and your phone, the way that it works on the Zumo is you connect your phone to the Zumo and you get your headset to the Zumo, and that almost then becomes the control hub, and you can do phone calls through it and sort your music out through it and everything else. The thing that I've found with that is it's a ball ache when you're out on rides with folk, because every time it's kicking in, giving you a thing, it cuts you off from your chat. So that's a ball ache. So I turned it off for that feature. But then also, I've noticed that when I do take calls, people say they struggle to hear me. It's really, really bad audio. And I'm convinced it's because it's going through the Zoom mod, because when I've literally disconnected my headset and phone from the Zoom mod, so the Zoom mod is just a standalone unit now, and I've got the phone connected a lot better. That's another thing I've noticed with the Senna since having this full face helmet and not using the boom. The audio on this seems really loud, and trying to find the setting to reduce the audio in the Senna settings, it's not the greatest. I don't think there's a way of actually turning down the mic sensitivity, whereas on the boom it seems to be a lot better. But obviously, with it being a full face, there's nowhere to stick the boom, right? Right, we've got a third exit on this roundabout. So the downside to that is I'm not getting audio from Zumo directly in. But to be fair, if I ever have it on in car, I don't have the audio on in the car anyway. I just look at the screen. So it sort of works. So just coming down these Lanks, 5 minutes away from his destination, SDM Tyres. I guess anybody from this neck of woods will know about them. See, I can hear it saying something there, but I can't hear what it's saying. I think I should have turned down there. I can't turn down there. No entry. Sorry. Oh, SMD. That's what we want. Alright.
Goodbye.
So yeah, there you go. Tyres done. 330 quid. Michelin have got a cashback deal on at the minute. Fill it in just so they can rape your data. 30 quid cashback. Happy days. We'll see how that goes. And then new tyres ready for time away. I'm noticing a little bit of I'm just getting a bit of a bobble. So I might have to adjust the preload on the front forks, I think. It's got a bit of a bobble. But happy days. Job done. 330 quid lighter in my pocket. But we should be good to go for the Euro trip. Trip away on bike. Don't like it. See where we end up. And again, I am planning on going solo again. But I have been offering up and seeing if somebody wants to join me. If there's a like-minded soul. I don't know. I don't know if it'll ruin it. It'll add to it, but it could ruin it. It's not just my holiday then, is it? It's somebody else's. you've got to take into consideration what they want to do. And the way I like doing it is I just plough on and then stop when I want to stop, and it's a bloody good job. I'm following it out now because I haven't a clue where I am. External power's been lost. How's that work out? Just trying to decide if handsome chap. I think these are actually quieter than them touring serves just come off. Whether that's because they were buggered or not. Look at that, 19. I believe it's that way. Although it is warm, and I just happen to have my summer gloves in the top box, and I've just put them on. Lovely day for a bike ride. Although I'm not on a bike ride. So I have just flicked my trip. I've just reset that, and I'm just monitoring what this says it's getting for MPG, and I'm trying to stick it to around 60. For one of the things that one of the ideas that I've got for my trip, it's starting that bugger up when I get home, is setting myself a set budget for the day, including fuel, and seeing if I can actually achieve that target, including camping and possibly a bit of wild camping as well, and seeing how I can get on. That's an idea that I've got for my trip. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I've been to get some tyres. I talked about, I've shown you me riding around with Keith and his Voge that were from last week, and I am tempted to get a Voge. However, I'm playing it safe and maybe thinking towards the end of the year rather than now, and seeing how people get on with it after owning for a few months and taking the coward's way out and letting everybody else test it out first. Keith's quite happy with his, although there were a couple of niggles, and whether they sort them out in the next couple of months would be interesting to see. One that he mentioned was obviously about the fuel tank bit. Now, having no fuel tank on my bobber and knowing what a pain in the ass that can be, having a quite reliable fuel tank gauge, especially if you're riding around Europe and that, you want to know, right? So it might only seem a little silly thing, but it could be quite a key important one. So we'll wrap it up there. We'll call it a do. Boring motorway miles on way back home now after getting these tyres. And Callie's a happy bunny. Because short of an oil change and a filter change and a bit of a check over, she's got a 12 months MOT. She's got a new wheels on. Let's keep up for a minute. So we'll call it a do. Catch you again sometime. Cheerio.